It's Saturday night,
The kids are in bed,
which means we did it. We survived another week.
so let's talk about it.
From our latest homebrew project,
To kids' crafting project.
it's just talking life with two young kids and two dogs. Grab your favorite beverage, sit back,
Relax.
and see where the conversation takes us.
Sometimes we don't even know until we get there. This is the Craft Parenting Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Craft Parenting Podcast, the podcast about two Cincinnati craft beer lovers with a slight parenting problem. So slight.
Just a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, nothing we can't work through. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Joe Ludwig, and with me is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline. How's it going, Caroline?
Pretty good. I'm still broken, so that's fun.
I don't think people know that you're broken.
Didn't I say in the last episode that I'm broken? I think I said in the last episode that I'm broken. I have a fractured ankle. It's lots of fun.
And you have a boot.
10 out of 10 would not recommend.
You have a second boot.
I do have two boots now because I had to buy a boot that was closed-toed so I can go onto the production floor at work whenever I need to. Not like the super production floor, though, just like the light production floor.
Is that like light treason?
I mean, I guess so. And now I have a home boot and an away boot. So I have a boot that I can wear around the house and a boot that I can wear out and about.
That is very extra. Won't they take the open-toed boot back?
No, because I've already worn it, so it's mine now. I don't think I can return it. It has wear and tear. Now, could I sell it on the internet? Probably. But let's wait until I'm all better. And even then, maybe we'll just keep it in the basement for a rainy day, just in case. Because if we have it, then I won't need it again. And you're like, wow, you just put that into the universe.
Yeah, we're not gonna need it just in case, hopefully. But we have a great show planned out for you this week. We are talking all about video games.
What is that? Some kind of nerd thing?
I could tell you were waiting to say that. And by we, I do not unfortunately mean you. I mean me and our good friends, Steven and Tony.
I can't believe that you kicked me out of my own podcast. How could you do that to me?
Well, you did that to me twice.
Shh, don't worry about it, honey.
No, it just kind of worked out that way.
Well, someone had to take care of the children.
It kind of just worked out that way because of schedules. We had to mesh my schedule with Tony's schedule and Steven's schedule.
And our friends are very important, so they're very busy.
They're a big deal. Kind of like me. I'm a big deal, apparently.
I mean, you are. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yeah, it just kind of worked out that way. But we will get to that soon. But first, let's talk very briefly about what we did this week.
So I'm going to need you to keep it down a little bit, Joe. You're being a little too loud, and I'm not quite sure if my head can take it. I'm just kidding. I'm doing perfectly fine. I think I actually did better than you did.
Do you have a sinus infection?
I did not have a sinus infection, which is very surprising.
So let's back up. Why are we talking about sinus infections?
So back in ye olden days, when we were young and partied a lot, and by a lot, I mean like once every 3 months, maybe, we had a friend who drank a little too much and wasn't feeling very good the next day and claimed that she had a sinus infection. So then anytime someone was hungover, we immediately started calling it a sinus infection because that's, of course, what we're going to do. Well, Saturday night, we went to said friend's wedding. I forgot that it was her wedding, and she was the one that said that, bringing it all together here. And I had 7 Schwaben teas, which is a mixed drink.
What is in this mixed drink?
It's ginger ale and Aschbach, which is like a German brandy. It's really yummy.
Aschbach is the drink of choice if you go to the Donau Schwaben.
It is.
Closely followed by Jägermeister and apple schnapps.
No, by watermelon schnapps. That's really peach schnapps, but everyone calls it watermelon schnapps.
Well, if you can get it.
If we can get it.
Yeah.
But as soon as we get it, it's sold out because literally like our parents' generation will buy bottles for their table. It's great. The stuff is so good.
Yeah, it's pretty tasty.
So we had a really good time at her wedding. It was my first full day being in a walking boot. So that was interesting. And as is tradition, the dance group that we used to perform with dances at members' weddings. So like if you dance in the dance group, you have the option of having the group dance at your wedding. And because her whole family has been members at the club for a long while, and a lot of them have gone up through the dance groups, she decided that one of the dances she was going to do was going to be a dance that pretty much everyone at the Donauschwaben was able to do.
Little audience participation.
Family participation, not necessarily audience participation, but family participation. So we had been asked earlier in the week if we were going to perform at the wedding. And we said, unfortunately, no. Caroline has a sprained ankle because at that time we thought my ankle was just sprained. So probably best to not participate. Well, I'm in a walking boot and my leg can't really do much of anything. One of the dances she had picked was a dance that our older dance group performs. Pretty much all of the dance groups are able to perform it. But for the most part, at shows, it's an older group song. And the music starts. A bunch of people get onto the dance floor that weren't doing the previous dances, and Joe made the mistake of looking at me and saying, "You can't do the Radetzky. You're in a boot. You have a fractured ankle. You shouldn't do the Radetzky." Joe has not learned anything, apparently, in our 12 years of being together, because that's basically just a challenge to me. And I look at him and I say, "Josef, the Olteschwob can do the Radetzky. I can do the Radetzky in a boot." So we get out and do the Radetzky, and I would like to say that I did very well.
How many Schwaben teas have you had at that point?
I think only like 4, maybe 5. I hadn't had all of my Schwaben teas by that point.
So how much tea and how much Schwaben were in these?
Lots of Schwaben, very little tea. So we danced, we had a great time. We did Tina Turner's Rollin' on the River, where we literally roll on the floor. It's one of the bride's favorite songs because it's like her whole family has a thing that they do with it. That was lots of fun.
It's very clean.
Yeah. And
COVID friendly.
so COVID friendly. And the reason why I was able to drink a lot more than usual was because the children were staying at Joe's parents' house. So I didn't have to worry about taking care of small children first thing in the morning. I could chug some water, roll out of bed, eat some breakfast, kind of decide how quickly I wanted to enter into the day. And surprisingly, I felt pretty good in the morning. I mean, I'd like to say that I did pretty good.
You were pretty peppy.
I mean, I'm always pretty peppy.
Yeah. I would also like to say shout out to Fretboard. Think of it was last episode or 2 episodes ago. We talked about the Schwaben Lager, which is the house beer.
So yummy.
At the Donauschwaben. And it was on draft at this particular wedding. I think it's on draft on every wedding, if we have it.
If we have it on tap, it is.
Yeah.
We only managed to have like 3/4 of a keg of it for our wedding, and it soonly disappeared. But
yeah, did Fretboard make that though, or was that?
I think that was still Rivertown at that point.
Yeah, but shout out to Fretboard for sponsoring this wedding. Maybe unknowingly sponsoring it. Because I drank a lot of it.
Yes,
Not too much.
Not too much, though.
Yeah, but enough.
Yeah, so then...
More beer than I've had in a very long time.
Yeah.
Because of 2 small children.
Yeah, so on Sunday morning, after threatening to leave the children at your parents' house until the end of time, we went and picked them up. They were happy to see us, and we just had a pretty chill day. I want to say we watched a lot of TV because we were tired and they were tired.
Yeah, the wedding was all day.
It was.
And then there was the ceremony.
Yeah, the ceremony was at 1, and then the wedding reception itself was at 6.
Yeah, so it was an all-day affair.
It was nice to get out of the house, though.
It was nice to be away from the kids and hang out with people older than 2 years old.
Yeah, people that we don't normally get to see, so.
I guess Lily is technically over 2, but you guys know what I mean. Monday and Tuesday were just kind of blah, right?
Yeah, I don't think a whole lot happened.
Nothing a whole lot, yeah. But Wednesday was a big day. I took the kids over to my mom's house for the day, as I do. And while you picked up the kids after work, Steven and Tony came over, which we will hear that interview here in a minute, and we recorded part of the podcast. We also ordered some delicious pizza and salad, and somehow Hillary showed up.
I mean, there was food and she's pregnant.
It's like a sixth sense.
Yeah, I mean, how many things did I invite us to that had food while I was pregnant?
You were mostly interested in the pool, at least for Lily.
I mean,
when
there
you
was
when you
food
were pregnant with
at
Lily.
the pool, so it was nice.
So we basically had a mini Friendsgiving with pizza instead of turkey.
We did. It was nice.
We had the roses. So not the best pizza that's out there, but it's still pretty tasty.
Yeah, we just have to work on our friends and the language that they use around our children. I think they forget that we have small kids sometimes, and now the small kids aren't necessarily as small.
Lily just repeats everything I say.
She does.
Like if I say a sentence, she'll just randomly pick a word in that sentence. So yeah, you have to be careful.
Well, and like this afternoon on our way home, I was like, "Look, Lily, we're almost home. Almost home. Look, there's the wing place where we go to eat. Wing, eat." Like, okay, I need to teach you landmarks. We're starting to mimic a lot of things.
She's funny.
She is. She's so cute.
Thursday, you went to work. I went to work.
Yay.
We were happy. Friday, you and I were both off.
We were. It was a nice mini vacation day.
Yeah, we just kind of needed a break. I need an extra day that I didn't necessarily want to take over the Christmas holiday. So I took it, it was the Friday before Halloween.
Yeah. We went to Jungle Gyms or Jingle Jams, as some other podcasts like to call it. Perused over their beer selection.
Yeah, it was like 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock in the morning.
10 o'clock in the morning, going through the Jungle Gym's selection of beer. We got some good ones that I'm sure we'll drink.
Oh, I'm sure we will too.
Soon on this podcast.
I got to work on clearing out some of the stuff from my beer fridge, though. I found an Urban Artifact beer the other day. Actually, that was on Friday. I found an Urban Artifact beer on Friday, and I was like, I don't know when this is from. I should probably drink this. And it was 10%, but it was still delicious.
That's why you didn't drink it yet.
I think that was why I hadn't drank it yet. I was trying to find something with a lower ABV.
But yeah, speaking of your beer fridge, you still have holiday beer.
I do, which we'll get to in a little bit.
You still have holiday beer from 2020.
Shh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll drink it. I'll work on it.
But we decided to try something new.
We decided to be wild and crazy guys. I don't know.
And
I was trying to do a thing.
But we decided to head out to East Jesus Land, as
some people call it.
Some people being my mom. We decided to check out Sons of Toil Brewing.
Because when you have the day off and you don't have children with you, you just go to the furthest brewery away from your house that's still in the Gnome's Cincinnati craft beer list.
Yeah, but Sons of Toil, I believe Old Firehouse was further out, right?
Yes, Old Firehouse is further out, which is now Paradise Brewing.
All right, will be Paradise Brewing.
Wait, no, Sons of Toil is further out. We would stop at Old Firehouse before we got to Mount Orab.
Oh, okay, so Sons of Toil, not by much though.
Not by much, but Sons of Toil is further out than the new Paradise Brewing location.
Okay, but Friday it rained so much.
So much. We're like, oh, maybe the rain will stop when we get like 20 miles down the road. Nope. Still raining.
Do you remember?
Maybe it'll stop raining on the way home. Nope. Still raining.
Yeah, we needed a boat.
That's
what we needed. But do you remember what we got at Sons of Toil?
Did we get an English brown?
It was a brown, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say we got an English brown. And then I popped through their cooler to get some to-go beers. And I got a spiced apple cider for Trick or Treat. And I think I got the bottled version of the English brown. We'll have to verify, but I'm pretty sure.
It's a bomber, though.
So it is. They're bombers. They're huge.
It's not a can.
No, we're going to split the apple cider with Larry. I think he's going to like it.
Mm-hmm. And then we got home and my parents drove the kids over in my dad's truck.
Because they have these car seats. They're going to use them.
That's right. And then we had a crock pot roast prepared by Chef Caroline. Master Chef?
Oh,
Master
making
Chef.
a Halo reference.
Are you the Master Chief?
I am the Master Chief.
Or Chef? Master Chef.
Yeah, I don't really have, well, you did the spices on this one. It was pretty good. I just kind of end up chopping up a bunch of veggies and some meat and throwing them in the crock pot and then dumping a bunch of spices and sometimes wine on top. Though I was discouraged from putting a bunch of wine in my pot roasts when back in ye olden times when you actually went into the office to work.
Mm-hmm.
Your coworkers told you, your lunch smells a lot like wine. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't substitute so much wine for water.
Just one coworker said that.
It was so yummy, though.
But so that was Friday.
Yep.
And then Saturday, we went to another wedding.
It's like so many weddings in such a short period of time.
2 weddings 2 weekends in a row.
And like, I want to say this is the first wedding that we've gone to since COVID. Like,
I think that's accurate.
I can't even remember whose wedding it was that we went to last.
Was it? I don't know. You're putting me on the spot.
I mean, there were weddings that we were supposed to go to, but we couldn't. But no, it's been forever since we've actually been to a wedding.
We did our time, though.
We did. 2014 and 2015, there were so many weddings. We were one of the so many weddings in 2015, but there was a big, long slew of weddings at some point.
And now you've mostly been to baby showers, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been a lot more baby showers.
Yeah, just I guess how it goes.
Yeah, so this wedding was a lot of fun, too. It was all in the evening, so we pretty much said goodbye to the kids, like, right before their bedtime.
Yeah, the ceremony started at 7, which meant a very late dinner.
Yeah, but it was good. It was yummy food. I mean, it's at the Danish province. That's always yummy food.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And the Michael Jackson of German dancing, yours truly, came out of retirement for the second weekend in a row.
Yeah, so it was a lot of the same people that were at this wedding that were at the last wedding, because that's kind of what happens with the Danish province. And we, again, said that we weren't going to be able to dance. Though at this point, I don't think we were asked, because the group leader knew all about my leg situation and would definitely prefer me not being on the dance floor.
Usually boots do not mesh well with shoe plotlering.
There's a lot of spinning, but I did learn that I can just kick off with my left foot and spin on my right, which I think is the opposite of what I normally do, and it worked out okay.
No.
But the dancers get ready to do the bench dance, and next to us, well, on the dance floor, we see our friend Mac and his partner are the only ones at their bench. There's supposed to be 2 girls and 2 guys at each bench. And they're like, Joey, Carrie, come over. And I'm like, I'm in a boot. Like, no, come dance. Like, the wedding colors are blue and yellow. We are dressed in purple. The dancers' outfits are white and black and red and white. So we don't really match anyone. So they just keep waving us over, and we're like, well, there's a couple that can dance. There's the couple that can dance. Maybe they'll get up and join. And we look around, and no one else is getting up to join this bench. So we're like, well, screw it. Up onto the dance floor we go. So we cold turkey did the bench dance, and it went pretty good. I was very happy that I could participate in the group shot. Your sister says that I took her shot, and I was like, well...
The group shot?
Yeah, the girls do a shot in the middle of the bench dance now.
Oh, a liquor shot. Shot of liquor.
Yes.
Okay, so for those who don't know, the bench dance, we mentioned the benches, obviously, the boys. Basically, there's like a story, I guess. The boys are showing off by slamming the benches.
The girls are hanging out together. The boys are trying to show off by dancing, like doing all their slappy slaps. Then the girls and the guys dance together, and then the guys try to impress the girls by banging the benches around and playing tug of war with each other. And then the girls are like, oh, okay, here's the beer. I love you. I don't know. Something like that.
But the best part is the props in the middle. I mean, the slamming of the benches, that's fun, I have to admit. But there's a table in the middle with, liters of beer. So almost immediately you get the boys go in and they drink beer. That's part of the choreography of the dance. And then lately, as you mentioned, they added shots, and the ladies get shots lights, apparently. We came out of retirement. The crowd, there's a decibel reading over on the wall, which I don't know why we have that, but whatever.
I guess we had some noise complaints at some point. I'm not sure.
Our neighbors do like to complain. That's more for Oktoberfest, not for indoor events. But when we were done performing, I want to say that the decibel reading was going haywire because it was so loud.
There were lots of comments of, oh, she's going to go up and dance. And it's like, well, I don't have many options at this point.
I'm just saying, the Michael Jackson of German dancing was there. No one knew that I was going to do it. And then I went and I performed and
we crushed it.
We did. We absolutely crushed it. We did. I think the bride was mad at us because we
definitely upstaged her.
We took attention away from her. So that was a fun night, long night.
Little long.
I think we were party poopers and left by 11:30.
I mean,
the party was still going though.
It was, and I was going to have to take care of kids the next morning. So, and I knew no matter what, those kids were going to be up at 7:30 at the crack of dawn.
Or 7.
Yeah. Actually, I think Elliot woke up at 5 and then I got him back to bed. And Lily was up at 7. I managed to have her hang out in bed until 7:30 before it was like, no, okay, I guess I do have to actually get up with her.
Yeah.
And then we sat on the couch and watched Frozen because Mommy did not want to do things. Mommy wanted to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great mom moment.
All right. So that was the week. Now it's time for What's Bugging Caroline in Children's TV.
So this is a very personal What's Bugging Caroline in Children's TV this week. And I want to personally direct this towards my husband.
Okay, so I am not on children's TV, so I cannot be the subject of your What's Bugging You on Children's TV segment.
Yes, you can. And I'm going to stare you in the eyes while I say this. Joe, have we had Thanksgiving happen yet?
No.
What's Caroline's rule for Christmas movies?
Charlie Brown is...
It's not even Thanksgiving yet, and you already played a Charlie Brown Christmas. Can we at least get through Thanksgiving first? Lily has to learn what a turkey says before we can start reinforcing more things that Santa says other than ho, ho, ho. Which I was working on Lily and what does a turkey say while we were in the van. So be ready for that one in about a week.
Does the turkey say ho, ho, ho?
The turkey says gobble, gobble, gobble.
Okay.
But you are a ho, ho, ho for playing a Christmas movie before Thanksgiving.
But I like Snoopy. Snoopy's my favorite. And Apple took all the rights away. They bought up all the rights, and now we can't watch Charlie Brown unless you give them money, which is stupid.
Let me have Thanksgiving.
But there aren't any Thanksgiving movies, are there?
I don't know. Figure it out. I
noticed you have an adult beverage in front of you.
I do.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking, and I'm pretty sure I've drank this on the podcast before, a Taft's Brewing Company Frisch's Pumpkin Pie Ale. So I won't really delve too much into it, but it's 6% ABV and 30 IBU. It's still really yummy. I really want some pumpkin pie now, but then I'll have to eat a whole pumpkin pie all by myself. Maybe Lily and Elliot will like pumpkin pie, and I can eat it with them.
We're already conditioning them to eat pickles.
We are. And so far, it's working.
Mostly Lily. We haven't given it to Elliot yet.
I do need to do that soon, though, because that'll be pretty funny.
Can kids be allergic to pickles?
I mean, you can be allergic to cucumbers, and pickles are made out of cucumbers.
I don't know. But you said it's yummy.
It is. I'm a big fan.
Pumpkin pie isn't my jam.
It is definitely my jam.
So if you go to Thanksgiving on my dad's side, I don't even think they have pumpkin pie.
They don't, and it's annoying.
They have apple pie and cherry pie,
which are both delicious pies. But I need my pumpkin pie that is covered in so much whipped cream that you can't even see the pie. Because if you can see the pie, there is not enough whipped cream on it. But getting off of soapbox, what are you drinking, Hubs?
I am trying to clear out the beer fridge because all the holiday beer is out. Don't get me started on that. Fretboard. We mentioned Fretboard before with the Schwabenlager. So shout out to Fretboard again because I'm drinking the Rockin' the Rhine Oktoberfest Marzen, which is delicious. Although the weather outside is pretty cold, so I poured it in the glass and I tried to warm it up a little because it was a little cold. ABV 5.5. I've had this on the podcast before, so
I think it was one of the many beers that we drank during our Oktoberfest episode.
Oh yeah, that was a fun episode.
All of the beers.
Oh yeah, we should do that again with just Christmas beer.
I'm pretty sure Brian would not have any issues with that, unless if it's going to cut into their Christmas party planning.
But I have already in the beer fridge West Side Holiday Ale and Great Lakes Holiday Ale.
Oh my goodness. 'Tis the season.
The Great Lakes, I was trying to find a 12-pack at Kroger, and they only had 6-packs.
I'm sure the 12-packs are coming.
Well, the shelf was kind of empty, the seasonal shelf. I mean, it was decently full, but I think...
Well, we're in transition. You got to get the Oktoberfest and the fall beers out.
There was no Oktoberfest.
Well,
all
that's
gone.
good.
At least on that shelf. It was all porters and lots of Yingling Hershey.
Oh, that's a yummy beer.
Yeah, but I didn't get it when I was there last. But cheers to the weekend, and Lord help us in the week ahead, because starting tomorrow, we are going to have to do it all over again. More crazy adventures are ahead, and we will make sure to share them with you each week right here on the Craft Parenting Podcast. Okay, so as mentioned before, I'm going to go on the road and with our good friends Steven and Tony, and we're going to talk all about video games and growing up with them, specifically what they call the 5th generation of video games. So this is classic gaming consoles of the 1990s. Now, Caroline, this is your chance to prove me right or wrong. In the episode, we talked about you a little bit. I said,
oh, wow.
We said you were a gamer a little bit, but your first gaming console that wasn't a computer was the Wii. That, before you played with your grandpa's Nest and Super NES, I said that. But the only one that was yours was the first one that was yours was the Wii.
Yes, because growing up, my father owned a computer store, and I was told I don't need a video game console because we have a computer. I get games for the computer. One of which was Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing. Super fun game. I'm a really good typist now, though, so that did actually help me out. Thanks for that one, Dad. I had a lot of DOS games, though. I do recall when we moved into our house that my mom just sold, at one point we had 3 computers in the house. I had one in my bedroom, my dad had one in his office, and my mom had one in her office. At that point we were very technically savvy. So I had some computer games for my computer, and then eventually we just pared down to 1 or 2 computers in the house when I didn't have a computer in my bedroom anymore. But whenever we would have computers that came in for repair, and the issue was specifically with a kids game, I would get to play said kids game for hours trying to just make it crash. So that was always really fun too. But I played Sims a lot. When I would go over to my friends' houses, I would play their Dance Dance Revolution. We would play Roller Coaster Tycoon, which is another computer game. I played Sims on my friends' PlayStations, and then was no, my computer version is way better than this.
Agreed. What was the code for the Sims? Do you remember? Was it Rosebud 92 or something?
One of them was Rosebud. The Sims 4, which I think is the one that I owned, was Motherlode.
Yeah, I
so
remember that.
I was really good at doing that one. And then I recall in high school going to, would it have been a LAN party? We were all at the same house, but we had 2 or 3 different consoles, and we would play at the time. I didn't know what it was. And then I learned, oh no, in fact, later on I learned, oh, this is Halo. I played Halo a lot.
Oh, this is not the X. We didn't go that far.
Yeah, so that was the original Xbox controller.
Console,
yeah. Xbox console. But yeah, I played a lot of PlayStation games at my friends' houses, though they were bored with playing their games because they played them all the time, where I was like, hey, it's a gaming console. I never get to play with these. And then, as you mentioned later on in the episode, my grandfather had a Super Nintendo. And whenever we would go hang out at his condo with my cousins, we would just play the Super Nintendo because there was nothing else for us to do other than run up and down the stairs outside his condo and probably annoy everyone else in his unit. We did that a lot.
Yeah, so Steven, as people know, he's been on the podcast before. But Tony is a new guest and a good friend of ours. So let's pack up the microphones and say goodbye to Caroline temporarily.
Bye, guys.
And
I'm just going to sit over here and crochet.
Let's go talk to Tony and Steven about video games and growing up with them. Welcome, everyone. This week is a very special episode of the Craft Parenting Podcast. We are going to talk all about growing up playing video games in the 1990s and early 2000s. More specifically, we're going to talk about what Wikipedia calls the fifth generation of video games, which I've never heard about that term before.
If you listen to enough gaming podcasts, they always talk about numbered generations, and it still makes no sense to me.
But Wikipedia is the arbiter of truth. So there you have it. But before we get to that, I keep saying we because I am not alone. I am joined by two very good friends who also happen to love video games.
Yay.
Do you want to go around the table and introduce yourself?
This is Steven. I've been on the podcast before. So yeah, that's me.
This is Tony. I have not. And yeah, that's awesome. I don't know if you want like any kind of extra background. The first time person, but yeah, name's Tony.
Oh, whatever. Carolyn couldn't join us today. She is currently picking up the children from my mom's house. They might actually come home during this recording, so hopefully we'll get most of it done before that. But she grew up playing computer-based video games in her grandpa's Super Nest. I'm sure she will correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe she had a PlayStation and 64 or anything like that until she got a Nintendo Wii in high school. But Steven, as you mentioned, you are a veteran guest on this podcast, but this is the first time that you've been on since you announced major news.
Yeah, so Hillary's been on since, but pretty excited because I'm going to be a dad. Woohoo!
Woo.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's going to definitely change life for sure. We'll see how many video games I can get in once there's a little one in the house.
I played Borderlands with Lily on my lap.
Nice.
I'll say Ricky talks about it a lot. We do right now we do a kind of a video game book club type thing where we play through a game. And
Yeah.
our current game, he says it sucks a little bit because it is not small child friendly
Oh yeah.
in the content that is in it.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
Just depends. But yeah, there's plenty of games you can play. Just
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it has to be more kid appropriate.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into today's topic, which is all about video games, as I said before, specifically the fifth generation era of video games. So according to Wikipedia, the fifth generation era, also known as the 32-bit era, 64-bit era, or the 3D era, refers to computer and video games and video game consoles, in-house consoles, dating from approximately October 4th, 1993 to March 23rd, 2006.
So not that I'm an expert on the field, but I'm going to argue with the arbiter of truth here and say that the 32-bit era would have been the prior generation.
Maybe you should go edit it. Maybe you should edit it right now. Can't you do that?
I can, but I don't. I'm too lazy for that.
Yeah, so usually I think 32-bit, I think of Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
Sega Genesis.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. But
And maybe they're saying that because it
I like transition.
yeah, transition, or maybe it includes the handheld generation.
Which is probably still 32-bit
handset,
from
yeah,
a handheld
handheld
standpoint.
might still be.
yeah,
think about
because
that.
I think like games like Zelda and mostly Zelda, Pokemon, that's probably 32-bit, right?
Yeah,
Or
or at least the
I mean, Game Boy
second gen
Color.
of-
It's probably Game Boy Color. I don't know. Like, I'd assume Game Boy Color is 32-bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Some features that distinguish fifth generation from the fourth gen. Fifth generation has 3D polygon graphics. I don't know what that means. Has CD quality audio recordings, music and speech. I guess it has that capability.
Yeah, because prior consoles typically had an audio chip built into them that the game developers had to utilize, where starting with this gen, basically they handled all the audio creation from the disc, or in the case of the N64, the cartridge.
Yeah. I'll say this was the advent of CDs, I thought, as well.
Yeah.
In gaming.
Also, it's known for wide adoption of full motion video, displaying pre-rendered computer animation or live action footage, and analog controllers. So it also is, I guess, what's considered fifth generation is the games and the consoles switched from home console games being stored on ROM cartridges to optical discs. So that's a big difference.
And the only reason that Nintendo stuck with the cartridges is because they could not come to an agreement with Sony to do the next console. So when Sony decided to make their own console with a disc, Nintendo stayed old school with the cartridge.
Interesting. You're just full
Yeah.
of knowledge. More knowledge than Wikipedia, apparently.
Honestly, I thought it was a pretty big thing, actually.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo, I thought it kind of developed it.
Yeah.
And Sony took it, or
I-
developed it in partnership.
I think it was in partnership. Probably, I don't know. I can't say I'm an expert on it,
Either.
but from what I know, it sounded like most of the technology really was Sony's.
I guess it makes sense. Otherwise, they probably would have bought them on it.
Right.
But it's been a while since I've read about it.
Yeah.
This is still from Wikipedia. There was a considerable time overlap between the 5th generation and the 6th generation of consoles. And the 6th generation began with the launch of Dreamcast in Japan on November 27th, 1998.
You're gone too soon, Dreamcast.
Yeah, I had a friend who had a Dreamcast, and it died really quickly.
It did.
Yeah, they were ahead of the time with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. They were, if not first, one of the first to have online connection capabilities. And
I think it was heavily pirated. That part of the downfall.
oh, it might have been. I don't know.
There's a couple different stuff there. Yeah, I had a friend
That was the Napster era.
Yeah.
LimeWire.
Not that I know anything about that.
No, of course not.
Wiretap, FBI, if you're listening. The 5th generation ended with the discontinuation of the PlayStation, namely its re-engineered form, the PS1, on March 23rd, 2006, a year after the launch of the 7th generation. So I guess the 6th generation was super short.
That was the PS2. That
Yeah.
generation. There's always overlap because it's one of those things like most games are made for it, but there's still games that are wrapped up for it.
Right.
So we are going to be talking about some of these video game consoles. We just don't have time to talk about all of them because there's a lot. But before we do that, we all have a drink. You wanted to tell everyone what you're drinking. So you can go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm drinking a Rheingeist Glow. It's a fruited sour ale with natural flavors. I know you usually say the alcohol content, it's 4.5% alcohol per volume.
So proud of you for branching out. I know you like Urban Artifact, but
Yeah.
Honestly,
And you like
that's
cider
not
gas.
branching out. That's just drinking more of what he likes. It is different though. I mean,
It
it
is,
is
it
different. It is different.
If I had seen a Radler at Kroger when I bought this, I would have bought that, which is a little more beery, I guess you'd say, than this even. But I did not see that.
and Tony, you dug into my beer fridge.
Yeah, I just got the Westside Brewing Oktoberfest, 5.2% alcohol. So just a Marzen style lager, classic Oktoberfest.
It's really good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
And I'm drinking an apple cider by Angry Orchard.
So I'm the only person drinking a beer.
Yeah, this is the first cider I've had of the fall season, so
Oh,
it's
man.
exciting. We're outside in the sunroom, so we're enjoying the fall weather. It's a little cold though.
I love it. I've been waiting for this colder weather. I woke up this morning and it said it was 36 degrees out. I almost did a dance.
Oh my. I feel like my kids and I were cheering that on because we listened to the entire soundtrack to Frozen on the way to my mom's house.
Nice.
Not the entire, just like the words, the
Yeah.
songs with the words.
Okay.
Typically, it's literally just enough to get through all. I think it's like 6 songs.
Yeah.
So
Nice. Lily singing to all of them.
she babbles. She doesn't necessarily sit. Well, she likes to repeat everything, so you have to be careful.
Yeah.
So it's like an echo. If you say something, she'll repeat it.
The echo stage.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Let's talk about some video games. So the first system that we are going to talk about is the Atari Jaguar.
Maybe this is why they say 32-bit and 64-bit, because the Jaguar may not have
I'm not sure.
made the jump to 64.
I'll say I was born in 91 and we did not have an Atari. I thought Atari was honestly pretty dead as a brand at that point, like a video game console producer. Obviously they released a system, but I didn't think
they were really big in the 80s.
just the regular Atari. I don't know if it had a tag
Yeah,
to it. Just whatever because I've played a regular Atari. My brother-in-law had one.
They had tags to the name, but I honestly can't remember what any of them were. The only Atari system that I ever remember us having in the family was the handheld Atari Lynx, and that thing was pretty awesome. About the only game I remember playing was like California Games, which had hacky sack, and you tried to kick the sack up high enough to knock out seagulls. That was pretty fun.
Interesting. Yeah, this is kind of the early 90s, so I didn't really have a whole lot of experience with anything Atari.
We had a Nintendo growing up, like a original Nintendo and NES,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had a Sega Genesis. So like we had some old systems, but we didn't have the Atari Jaguar.
Yeah.
But when I think Atari, I think of like the big, not pinball machines, but the
Arcade machines.
The arcade machines.
Yeah.
And I say when I think of consoles, I just think of what was the big four. I guess it's always kind of been three, but
Yeah.
I remember when because I remember a lot around like the whole Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, and Sega.
Mhm.
With Sega dropping out, obviously, with the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Sega kind of dropped out, and then Microsoft came in.
Yeah. I was gonna say big three in general because I think
Right.
prior to that it was Sega, Sony, Nintendo.
And there have always been some other ones
Yeah,
that
like
have
there's
kind
another
of
random
been
stuff.
around, but
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like typically about three.
I think of the main
once
ones.
consoles came back,
Yeah.
that is.
I think of the main ones.
Yeah, but just very quickly, the Atari Jaguar was released in North America in 1993. It originally cost $249.99, which is equivalent to $448 in 2020. The best-selling game was allegedly Alien vs. Predator.
I'm sure that was fantastic.
Well, I mean, there's the whole what was it E.T. game like almost killed home consoles.
Well, that was pretty much what
It was so
ended
bad.
home consoles until Nintendo decided to come out with the
Right.
NES.
Yep. Anyways, sorry,
Yep.
carry on.
Like I said, I don't have any experience with Atari,
Yeah.
but I know it's a big brand, so I wanted to mention it.
Yeah, they have a lot of iconic, like you said, more for arcade machines. They have a lot of iconic brands in that realm,
Yeah.
for sure.
And I feel like a lot of pop culture references Pong. I don't know if they had a Pong for the Atari Jaguar, but
Yeah.
it wasn't for that.
The next one is the Sega Saturn.
The good old Sega Saturn.
It was released in North America in 1985. It originally cost $400, which is equivalent to $679 in 2020 money. The best-selling game was Virtua Fighter 2.
Virtua
Yeah,
Fighter
I played
2.
Virtua Fighter. Yeah, we had Virtua Fighter for the PC. We never had a Sega Saturn.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of my brothers had this system, but I can't really say I have any memories of it. I remember more his Sega Genesis he had prior to that.
I think a lot of stuff that's on the Sega Saturn is also on the PlayStation. Like there's a number of
Probably.
what's the word for that?
Cross-platform.
Cross-platform,
Yeah, but yeah, I remember playing Virtua Fighter. I was a big fighting game person, so.
Mm-hmm.
But just for PC. The only thing I can think of with Sega Saturn is there was a game that was released out of Japan. It was Princess Crown. There's a series I like. There's a series I like later on that it's by Vanillaware Studios. They that was like I think it was their first game. So that's what I think of when I think of Sega Saturn. It's just that game.
Nice. And I think if I'm remembering right, the Sega Saturn was kind of like a surprise release. I'm pretty sure it was the Saturn, where I don't know if it was at E3, because I think E3 was just starting up at this time, but at some big event, Sega announced the Saturn and basically said it was available within like a week or something, which did not bode well because none of the third-party companies had really had time to actually make any games for it.
Have any software
So,
to develop.
yeah, it was not
Interesting.
set up well.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't super actually think about the Sega Saturn often at all. I go from Genesis to Dreamcast.
Yeah, well, and they even had a bit of a bridge in there too, because they had the attachment for the Genesis, which was the Sega CD.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that came out, but I always feel like I think of that more than the Saturn too.
Interesting. I did not have a Sega Saturn. My first system that connected to a TV was the original Sony Playstation.
Nice.
I did have a Sega, like a handheld Sega,
The Game Gear.
the Game Gear.
Yeah,
That-
I had that also.
That thing was awesome. It ate through batteries like no one's business because of the color backlit screen that it had.
Mhm.
It's better than the little like attachment I'd get with the little like
For the
the
Game
little
Boy.
light attachment for the Game Boy you had, so you could actually like play it in the car.
The
Yeah.
Game Boy had much better battery life because
Yeah.
it didn't have that. But yeah, it's
Right, yeah.
you pretty much had to have the car adapter to be able to play the Game Gear on long road trips. Otherwise, you
Oh.
were killing batteries left and right. But
Yeah, I do remember that. We had a rechargeable battery,
oh,
like
okay,
an attachment.
yeah.
I actually have it in the basement somewhere. It was at our family farm.
I wish I would have kept a hold of my Game Gear because I loved
doesn't
playing
work.
that thing.
No,
Oh,
it doesn't work. The
Oh.
battery's the same issue.
Yeah, I remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog, Rayman,
I had like a Donald Duck.
Sonic Pinball. I
Game.
think I had
You're
on
talking
there.
about like DuckTales?
Yeah,
Was DuckTales on Game Gear?
I think so.
Probably. I feel like
The Lion King.
that time frame
A lot of
games
stuff was just
came
put-
out
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
everything. Probably a slightly different version than like the console game, but
But I didn't see the Game Gear in the Wikipedia entry.
Yeah, I don't remember when the Game Gear came out.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit, and Steve and I were talking a little bit earlier, just of, to me, generations blur a bit. Like, I'd heard of Generations. I thought it was funny I hadn't really heard of Generations. I'd heard of the different generations, but they blur to me just because, like, we had systems of all kinds at different times.
Yeah.
And, like, we were technologically behind a lot in my house.
Yeah. So fun fact, the Game Gear is an 8-bit 4th generation handheld console that released on October 6th of 1990 in Japan and then April of 91 in the rest of the world.
The month I was born.
So
in a year.
Oh,
April 91 I was born.
You came out with a Game Gear in your hand.
Hey, yeah.
I'm a member of the Donut Schwaben. Members of the listeners of the podcast will hear me talk about that. But every Labor Day, we go somewhere, usually somewhere in the Midwest, a different city. And I remember playing my Game Gear on the bus.
Nice.
I must have been like second grade or something, first grade. Moving on to the PlayStation. This was like my pride and joy. I had a PlayStation until forever. I still have it at my parents' house somewhere.
Nice. Hopefully it's in better working order than the Game Gear.
Right, yeah. Well, I have a PS2 too. Also,
Okay.
Original PS2.
So you can play the PS1 games on there.
Yeah, so that one's the more recent editions of the PS2 aren't always backwards compatible, but mine is.
Slims.
Yep.
Yeah. The Sony PlayStation was released in North America in 1995. It originally cost $300, which is equivalent to $510 in 2020 money. The best-selling game was, according to Wikipedia, Gran Turismo.
Was it the first one? My brothers were huge Gran Turismo people. I remember
Yeah.
playing, I think 1, 2, and 3 were all on the PlayStation.
Okay.
Yeah, it just
Yeah, it
says
probably
Gran.
would have been the original,
I just did
would be my guess.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a car racing series.
Yeah, and it's,
Yeah.
it's
But like
more of
like
a simulator
Yeah, it's not a
version.
There was all kinds of different. If you were a car people, real big. Like my brothers Tommy, Danny, and Andy were real into it. They were all car guys.
They just recently had a trailer come out for the newest version of Gran Turismo
Fan
for the
6
PS5.
at this point?
6 or
Or
7. Might be
Yeah.
7. I can't remember though.
No, I can't either. I remember the third. I remember that we had the third. I mean, we might have had other ones, but I mainly remember the third one. But if you were at all into cars, it was a more realistic. Like, it wasn't like a kart racer. It was a more realistic.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember ever playing that one, but my cousins and I were obsessed with the Crash Bandicoot series.
Yes.
Yep.
Those were a lot of fun. I recently bought the remastered trilogy. I haven't
What'd you buy it on?
the Switch.
Okay.
I haven't started playing through it yet, but
It's on the Switch. That's
yeah.
insane.
Yeah, it's comical.
I imagine that I'm going to probably get very frustrated with the platforming in it though.
Well,
but I loved playing it back in the day.
There is a difference because I started playing. I purchased the trilogy for the PlayStation. I have the PlayStation version.
I do too.
One of the things they talked about because people talk about like the different jumps felt wonky.
Yeah.
I remember reading they talked about like in the original like they're like your boxes and everything were rectangles as opposed to like now I think they're more of like a pill shaped.
Oh.
So like there can be some like
interesting.
landing on like edge cases that can be a little wonky.
Huh.
Because I remember I got to a certain point in the first one and there's a like vertical climbing section because that's one of the big complaints about the very first Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
Is that
oh my god, it was so hard.
There's not a like the difficulty doesn't ramp up. There's just random really like really intense spikes.
Kind of like level 3 of Battletoads. Sorry, prior generation.
Yeah, well, no, but I mean that it's kind of like that. Like that battle is most people don't even know there's a level after that. Like kart racing section.
Yeah.
But the first one I actually never had played the first one prior to the remake. We had we had the second one and I think the third one as well. But the second one we played a lot as a kid.
Yeah. I feel like so I think I played the first one the most. So growing up, the PlayStation was one of my brothers, so I didn't have my own games. It was just whatever he had. I know for sure he had the first one. I feel like one of the sequels came out on either the Dreamcast or the Xbox because I remember playing one on one of those systems.
I'd be surprised because it was a Sony.
I thought it was
Sony.
exclusive.
Yeah, it was kind of a Sony exclusive. For a long time.
Yeah, it's like a second party game, so it wasn't Sony themselves that were
Naughty Dog
developing it.
Productions.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe it did come out on the Sega then.
Yeah,
I didn't think so, but I'm not sure.
The main thing I remember about the one that again, memory could just be off, but I swear that I played on another console. It had like a hub world, and you were going through like these portal type things to go to the levels, kind of a la the castle in Mario 64 and the paintings.
And any like 3D platformer.
Well, yeah, it's true. Yeah. Actually, you have on the list here Crash Bandicoot Warped. Probably was warped because that would make sense going through portals and
Well, actually, all of them, even the second one, the first one you like are on a map. And you're walking along. The second one, there's like several floors, and you kind of like go into a portal.
Yeah. So the first one, I also have the Insane Trilogy, which is the remastered version for PS4, and I'm stuck on I think it's called the Road to Nowhere, which is you're on like a bridge. It's like a broken bridge. You have to jump, and I keep dying.
Oh no!
I had like 40 lives, and I kept dying. So I haven't beaten that on PS4 version, but I'm pretty sure we beat it. Between all my cousins and we spent so many hours just trying to get through that. I'm dying a lot.
I remember beating the second one, but it's been a long time. I don't know if I actually got all of the gems and crystals. I think I got all the crystals on about the gems.
I don't remember beating any games back in this time frame. I was not playing to beat games at this time.
Just playing to have fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting that you talk about the system being your brothers. Like you guys didn't like share a system?
No.
None of your siblings?
No, not really. I have 3 brothers, and we all had our own like TVs in our rooms.
Oh, whoa.
So very fancy.
Fancy.
I know.
Fancy.
But so I remember like the NES when we had that was definitely like more of a communal system. Like it was out in the living room, but one of my brothers had the Genesis in his room. The other had a Super Nintendo in his room. The PlayStation, I feel like, kind of floated around a little bit more, but it was still like one of my brother's systems.
Yeah, because ours, everything we owned was like it was the family system.
Yeah,
you could get games for it because like when we actually got our PlayStation, we sold our Nintendo, our Sega Genesis, and all the games that we had.
Oh, nice.
Which I remember my brother Ricky talks about. We had the one. I think it's kind of rare. We had the one like Olympics game for the Nintendo where like it had like the twister mat.
Yeah.
Like I think it's relatively rare at this point.
Oh wow.
So it's just kind of funny that we sold all of it to get the PlayStation, and then
you probably sold it to some place like
a GameStop that gives you like $2 for everything. But
I'm still so angry at my younger self for selling so many games for so cheap that I should have kept a hold of.
But it is what it is. But
yeah.
But like then even when we got the PS2, like we sold our PlayStation, not the games, we sold the PlayStation to help get the PS2. But it was always like a Christmas gift or like a family thing. Like it was never one person's kind of system.
Right. We couldn't share.
Well, I mean, I also like I have 5 siblings.
Yeah.
So, and me and 3 of my brothers shared a like 10 by 11 room. So there was no everybody gets their own TV in their own room.
Well, let's talk about Crash Bandicoot, and then apparently I have to order the pizza.
Yeah, I mean, Crash Bandicoot was huge. I was a big. I mean, me and Ricky talk about this a lot. We are game likers.
Yeah.
I will play pretty much any game.
Like,
I mean, I might not enjoy every game I play, but I am a liker. I will find something to enjoy about them.
Right.
And so we play a lot of Crash Bandicoot, both the second and the third. I think there was actually, I know Crash 4 just released. I think there was another title after Warped.
I know there
was like, because there was like
there was a racing.
Yeah, there was a.
Well, we played the hell out of Crash Team Racing, like because that game was so good.
Yeah.
Crash, which I was gonna say is I don't know how the remaster is for the Switch. I bought the Crash Team Racing for the Switch. The load times suck.
Really?
I mean, it is.
Oh no!
It is horrible. It is probably like 30 seconds for like waiting for like a race. It is bad.
Yeah.
On a PS4, that's awful.
What? No, this is on the Switch, so that's why. I don't know if the Switch is bad for the remaster for the games, but the load times were trash.
Oh no!
Like I was excited.
I hope that's not a bad sign for the trilogy.
The game was fun, but I literally stopped playing because I was like, this is terrible. Because I got it for the Switch because I had for sure 4 controllers.
Right.
With multiplayer, because PlayStation, my PS4, I only have 2.
Okay.
So I was like, well, if I'm gonna play with 4 people, I didn't feel like buying 2 more PlayStation 4 controllers.
Right. Yeah. Especially when they're expensive.
Yeah.
I only have 1 PS4 controller.
But yeah, well, in Crash Bash. So if you're talking about all the Crash games, we played a lot of Crash Bash.
I don't know that I've ever heard of that one.
It's basically like the Mario Party equivalent. There's no board game, but it's all like party games. Like we played them a ton. There's one. There's basically like
remember that.
There's basically like I was trying to think like the main ones I can think of. There's like a pinball-esque one where like each of you are a goal, or I should say Pong. Like it's kind of like a 4-player Pong.
Yeah.
Like these metal balls, and there's like different things to each stage. There's one where you're like coloring tiles as you hop along. There's all kinds of different mini games to it.
Nice.
Played it a lot. lot. I was a big Crash fan.
Yeah.
Oh my
Very
god! Like
cool.
I said, my cousins and we played the hell out of Crash Band. All three of them. The first one was known for the Indiana Jones style boulder that chased you, and usually the camera on all the levels is behind you, but in this one, the camera's in front of you, so that makes
Yeah. So you did not have a whole lot of notice to see what you were trying to jump over and through and everything.
Mhm,
And they did that. They did that in a couple levels too. If you were trying to collect all the boxes, which usually gave you one of the gems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times you had to like backtrack, and it was kind of difficult.
Not gonna lie, this is making me want to go home and fire up that trilogy tonight.
It's fun. I mean, I remember I got so far in the first one, I switched to the second one, which the second one's one I have the most memories with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the second one is known for the jetpack, which is really hard to control.
I don't super remember the jetpack.
There's a level with.
I remember the final boss fight, you wearing the jetpack. I'm sure there's more than that uses that
There's at
mechanic.
least two levels with the jetpack.
But I definitely remember because usually I think the boulder ones in the second one usually are riding that polar bear.
Yeah.
I was
There
gonna
is
say
the
I
one
don't
with the
really
polar
remember the jetpack, but I feel like I remember
The polar
riding
bear,
the polar bear.
Yeah,
And like I said, and I remember there's ones where you're riding like a surfboard and stuff, like you're talking
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And then the third one, which is Crash Bandicoot Warp, and you're traveling through time.
I feel like it followed a similar trajectory that a lot of mascot platformers followed in terms
Mhm.
of like the third one also added other playable characters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like-
yeah, it did.
And I feel like a lot of mascot platformers follow in that like Spyro. Here we're gonna add variety by adding like in the third entry different characters you can play.
Right.
Or like this isn't in this, it's PS2, but like Sly Cooper. I love the Sly Cooper games. And the third one like adds other more playable characters. Like
Yeah.
it's a way to diversify your gameplay.
Right.
In the original version, you could only play as his sister in, I think, one version, one level. It was.
Oh, you could actually play her in the first game? I didn't realize that.
I think so.
I remembered it in the third one because in the third one.
In the third one.
I mean, she behaved. She like played the same. So like, while it was like different gameplay, it was still just her.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like it was like she controlled differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the boat level where you had to. It was on the water and stuff.
Okay, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have a lot of memories of the first one because we didn't actually have.
No,
the first one.
that was in the third one.
Oh, in
You
the third
could
one.
play as her.
Okay.
My other memories of the third one include the motorcycle, which is a different deal. They didn't have a motorcycle in the other ones. It was kind of like a race, like a Mario Kart or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna order the pizza now.
Okay.
Okay.
Before.
Is this a pause in the?
Yeah, we can pause.
Okay.
So we're back. We have. What are you drinking there, Tony?
Oh, me?
Yeah,
New round of drinks.
You
Yeah.
dug into the beer fridge.
I did. I like how you skipped Steven. But
Yeah.
just another Oktoberfest, Taft's Oktoberfest German style lager. So it's pretty good. I can't decide if I like this one better or the other one. They're just kind of been easy drinking, in my opinion. So I haven't really thought a lot about the taste. 5.7% alcohol, if you care about that. But yeah, it's just a good Oktoberfest.
And Steven, you have.
I decided to up my game from my sour and went to a truly citrus punch hard seltzer,
Nice.
which has 5% alcohol per volume, 0.5% more than
Oh,
the
dang.
sour.
Yeah, and
I
I'm
think it's-
still
oh.
drinking my Angry Orchard.
I think he's literally like just licked a little out of the bottle.
To be fair, he did get a second bottle.
Oh, did he? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Never mind. I forgot. I forgot you got him another one.
No, this
I
is number
forgot.
two.
I forgot you got him a second one.
I
was
love
like-
that description, though. He literally just licked a little.
I forgot you got him a second one. I was like, wow, Joe's really nursing that.
No.
He's got to
Apple-
stay on top
Apple-
of the game for this engineering
Apple
thing.
cider is dangerous for me because it tastes like apple juice.
Yeah.
It's straight sugar.
Yeah, that too. But we just got done talking about Crash Bandicoot. So, one of my other favorite games was the Tomb Raiders.
I
The pointy
remember.
boobs. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yes. I remember booting up a Tomb Raider game, going into a cave, finding some
Fight
water.
a tiger or a lion.
Literally, the cave and water is all I remember.
Okay.
Like I'm pretty sure the most of the original 3 Tomb Raiders, I maybe played 5.
One of them
minutes.
has either a lion or a tiger. There's some big cat
yeah.
that you fight early on. That is the only one I've played and the only memory I have. I remember watching my brother Tommy. I think he was big in the Tomb Raider series.
Isn't
play
there-
through Tomb Raider.
Isn't there a dinosaur in one of them too? Or am I?
It might be that thing.
misremembering?
No, there is a dinosaur.
Because
Okay.
whatever
Third
the
one.
one is, as far as I was defeating one of the big cats, and I was proud of that moment. But I just remember watching my brother.
I was
Tommy
really
play.
in. So if you played straight and you didn't cheat, you had actual ammo
Versus fake ammo?
versus unlimited ammo.
Ah,
So
gotcha.
I did not do that. I always found the cheat codes and got the unlimited ammo, all the guns.
Hey, cheat codes were fun, man. I miss cheat codes.
Oh
Not
yeah, it
enough
was
games do that
legit. You
anymore.
had to flip backwards, flip forwards, XX, 0, whatever. Yeah,
Nice.
But
Nice.
the one with the tigers, that was probably the one that's based in China, which is the second one, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just remember struggling. And
Yeah.
I didn't play the series much. I was gonna say like third and first person shooters are probably games I played the least.
Yeah.
But it's not really that. It's more of like kind of like those Uncharted games.
Yeah, I would say more that like action adventure.
Yeah, I would
style.
consider this one a puzzle game. Well, the early ones were puzzles. I mean,
I feel like I should go back and try these because I do find myself these days enjoying puzzle games quite a
yeah, it
bit.
was
I
like an Indiana
puzzle
Jones
adventures.
style. You have to flick this switch to open this door, but if you flick that switch, that door is closes that door, and it's like a big puzzle. And your
Yeah.
most of your adversaries are, I guess, like animals, and there's a boulder too, I think.
Well, I remember the new one. I thought really there was, and maybe it's not new now, but I remember reading one of the articles in
Yeah,
those
it's
Game-
probably
those
like
Game
8 years
Informer.
old at this point.
Well, no, but it was one where it was like I thought they kind of went back to like a different Laura Croft, and it was more of like a
It
there was a
was like a
survivalist
prequel.
aspect. There's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
survivalist
Yeah.
aspect. That's what I said. New. I don't know if it was actually. I think it was on PS4, but
Yeah.
No,
I-
they released 3 of them, I think.
there's
right?
probably a lot. Like I don't super.
I
follow
know
the
there's at
series.
least 2. I don't remember if they did a
I
third
don't-
or not. I played a little bit of the first of the not remake, but like reimagining, I
Reboot
guess.
or restart or
yeah.
whatever.
I
they'll
think
call
they
it.
did a good job with that.
When they released the definitive edition, I started playing it, and I really enjoyed what I played, but I don't know what it was. I got pulled away by something else and didn't continue. But that's another one I'd like to go back and play because I've
some of the
heard so many
puzzles are
good things about
underwater,
it.
So, and there's like a timer.
You know,
as far as when
I feel like
she
water's.
lost
I feel like water's always hit or miss on games.
Do you have to find water bubbles like in the original Sonic?
No, I don't think so. I think there are pockets of air or whatever. But it's basically a female Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Is where they. But going back to the cheat codes, I think it was the third one. You could have like the dual Uzis, and I remember using that against the T-Rex.
Nice.
Did you actually beat all 3 of the
so.
Tomb Raiders? Oh, I
yeah,
didn't know.
like I said, I cheated. There were walkthroughs and stuff. That was the age of the internet, even though it was dial-up internet, and I printed off the cheat codes.
Game facts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Game facts for everything.
I love printing off the big long sheets of cheat
I think it's
codes.
when you
That
printed
was
them
always
off.
fun.
I just looked them up and just kept them on the computer.
Or write them down. Yeah.
Save the earth.
Or you could print out the walkthroughs.
Ink and
too.
paper is expensive, so
Yeah.
my dad would have raged. If we
Oh, my dad
we
wasn't
printed that
happy. My dad was definitely not happy.
I'll say we didn't print that off. We just looked it up. Well, we had the computer. Well, my family, we rearranged our house a lot.
Yeah.
But at one point in time, the computer was because we only had one computer, and it was I think when we had the PlayStation, it was in the basement near where the PlayStation was. But we also had the PlayStation in the living room at one time, and also my brother's like in our rooms. I don't know. It moved.
Yeah. So not my story, but from one of the like IGN games podcasts I listen to, there's a guy on there that always tells a story about printing off cheat codes from his like school library and did not realize that it was like 200 pages.
Oh my God.
Well, you have to pay for that too. Like at least we did at my high school.
I think
Granted,
we
high school was
got
much
so
later, but
many
Right.
codes for free. Or maybe that was more UC.
Yeah.
than
I
high
honestly
school.
don't remember ever even thinking about printing stuff at school, so I don't know what their policy was. Other than I remember like 5th grade computer class, we would print off our little flyer projects that we made in PowerPoint.
And when in my grade school, like there would be every now and then you would go to the computer lab for like
Yeah.
either with a class or as part of a period, and there was no printing. There was no like you
Yeah.
only went there randomly and like you played whatever game on the computer.
Did you play the
the
typing
Mavis
games?
Beacon and then the we did all the math blasters and math.
Oh yeah,
Dice.
we did a lot of
I liked Math Blasters.
games.
Yeah, but
But moving on to RP, we went from action. We went from platform to action. Now we can go to RPG, into the Final Fantasy realm of things, which Steven rolls his eyes at.
This Nothing against the games, but this is just a realm I never got into. Just RPGs in general. I don't know that I can say I really.
We're talking about JRPG,
right?
Because RPG is just a generic term.
Yeah,
every game like you
True.
level up anything, RPGs attached.
Yeah,
to it.
but I feel like it wasn't until I think Fallout 3 on the 360 was legitimately like
that I would
the
even
first.
call like a Western RPG.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely
Yeah.
Western. Yeah. So never delved into it. Although my brother, again, with this being his PlayStation, had Final Fantasy VII. So I do remember booting it up and going and finding some random encounter battles, but that was about it.
Final Fantasy VII, only beat it once because the final boss has 4 forms. Yeah. The fourth form is a no. If you get to the fourth form of Sephiroth, it's you automatically win, I think.
Spoilers.
Yeah. But it's that
for a very old game.
Hey, they're remaking it.
Yeah. God, how
Very,
many parts?
very
is it gonna
slowly.
be? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't played the remake yet. I've actually never beaten 7. I've probably played because similar to what you kind of said earlier, Steven.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was not necessarily great about finishing games,
Mm-hmm.
but I would just play them a lot. I probably beat the first disc or the first 2 discs. God knows how many times. I would just keep replaying them, just keep I forget what I was doing, so I'll start
the third disc is it's
because the first one
it's the final boss and everything is open.
Yeah, because I think it's literally just the final boss, right?
But you have to go into the crater, and there's a bunch of really difficult enemies or fiends or whatever.
Yeah. So I want to replay it. The only Final Fantasy I've ever actually beaten is number 9. I've played most of them, not all, in some capacity.
Well, I got a demo when I got my PS1, and it was secondhand.
I think it's so funny to think about that.
Yeah.
You used to get demo discs.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they would either be they'd be a handful of games you could play the demos for.
Yep.
And it's always kind of comical to think about how different it is now.
I think PS4 still has demos, right?
Yeah, but you download a demo for any game that has one. But it's just comical to think there used to be
You used to
literally
get
demo
discs.
discs. They just have a bunch of
Yeah.
random games that you could try.
Yeah, I don't even know how they got it, but maybe it came with it.
I know in the Xbox days, when that console first started up, they had the official Xbox magazine, and I remember each issue of that coming with a demo disc, and it would have 3 or 4 demos on it, and I always was excited to look at their reviews and pop in that disc to see what games I could check out.
Demo too.
Probably. The main one I remember is we had 2 discs. One, it might have actually been on the same disc, but
yeah, it was.
I remember we had
multiple
I distinctly remember me and my brother, we were off school one day for whatever reason. My brother Dan was play the PlayStation as much as you want, because my older brothers are more protective of me and my brother Ricky, who's the closest in age to me, of us not fucking their system up. And so I remember we played a demo disc, and it was for Tekken 3, and we played it nonstop. It only has 2 characters. It's a fighting game.
Yeah.
It only has 2 characters, and we played it pretty much all day. Just that demo. And
the demo, yeah. So there was
That's
Final
awesome.
Fantasy VII. There was Tomb Raider 2 because I had to battle a tiger, and then there was the Tekken game.
Yeah, we played Tekken 3.
I think it was a
That's
single
awesome.
disc with multiple demos on it. And that's kind of how I got into it. Final Fantasy is not a game where you just pop in, and it's not like there aren't levels, although you do level up. This is a game that takes over 50 hours to beat, or to get to the point where you can actually access the final boss.
Honestly, I feel like RPGs are better back in the day of being 30 to 40 or maybe I guess 50, depending on how much extra stuff you're doing games.
Yeah.
Because anymore,
most of that time is spent, leveling up.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say is because there are story-driven experiences, which is always fun. But I feel like a lot of modern RPGs, they add so much content that sometimes some of them turn. If you play the Persona series or anything, it's this is a 100+ hour game, and it starts to become a bigger time commitment. It becomes very daunting. Whereas the nice 40-ish average hour game is
but yeah, a little bit about this
definitely.
game. I really like the cutscenes, although it's mostly the old school, the poly. They're not 16-bit, but they're the 3D model.
Yeah. The style that does not always
when it
work
really
well.
doesn't it's not necessarily entirely because of that. Ricky and I were talking about this the other day. My brother Ricky, who's I'm closest in age to me, I'm close to. There is one thing I think was shared on Reddit where it's a picture of Aerith in
Aerith or Aerith?
on a Aerith is the current translation, but in the original one it was Aerith.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, in the original one
where did Aerith come from?
I think that was the original Japanese,
Okay.
and maybe not original. I thought it was the proper name for it. But the original PS1 had Aeris. But it showed a picture of like her portrait on a standard definition television versus an HD.
Yeah.
And like because of how they used to like have boxes around all the pixels versus
Yeah.
not, the
Yeah.
art looked infinitely better on the
Yeah.
standard def. So like there is a lot
That's
of
true.
like things look worse because it's not designed for the technology that we're currently
Yeah.
using.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
definitely
Granted,
true.
graphics obviously have improved also, but it doesn't
Slightly.
help if you're making it even worse with your fancy
Right,
television.
Right.
So this was 3 discs, and it had the cutscenes.
Which is also something kind of a bygone era. Like cutscenes they're not like, it used to be like, wow, the game looks like this, and look at that cutscene, like they're significantly different. Now it's almost like if there's a cutscene, things look similar to like the actual game, like in terms of like the
Yeah, and
graphics.
they didn't have any voice actors for this one. Which how many discs could it be if they did
Oh
have
man.
voice actors?
Sometimes not having voice acting is a blessing to not highlight either the quality of the script or just the quality of the actor that they got
Yeah.
to voice the script.
back in that time, whenever there was voice acting, a lot of it was not real good quality voice actors. Like anymore, I feel like that has become more of a, I don't know if I would necessarily call it prestigious, but more of a
Yeah.
practice field. Back then, that was.
I think a lot of games
not
also
the
have like
case.
voice, like language options. So sometimes you can just
Mhm.
choose to like default to like maybe the Japanese language, which
Yeah.
can be beneficial because you don't understand what they're saying and you just get the emotion. Like you
Yeah.
can just focus on the emotion of what they're saying.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is often better,
Yeah.
depending on the quality, because obviously different things are.
Yeah, but they
just
did do a remake. The remake only is
Have you played the
Uh-huh.
remake at all?
it's they
Did you finish the remake?
Mhm. They mucked with the story quite a bit. I have no idea how they're gonna.
I wonder how many parts it's going to be because I
Yeah.
know the first one is just the first.
It's
area.
just Midgar,
Yeah.
which is like a very minuscule part of the
I wanna
first disc.
Well, I think because there's all these people, because like me and my brother were joking about this too, my brother Ricky, of like what percent of the game is Midgar, and I think most people say it's like roughly a fifth of the game. But I don't,
Yeah,
I don't know how many parts they'll actually end up doing for it. But that's why I'm a little turned off on it, because I'm like, I don't want to
That's
commit
a
to a
lot.
game that's gonna like. I'd rather wait till it's just done.
Well,
Or-
not only that, but they're doing a bunch of like spin-off things to it too.
just
Like,
the
I
one.
feel-
There's some DLC.
Is it just
with
the one?
Yuffie. Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking I saw that there were more things coming out in
It's
the
more of just that there's different
FF7
Final
remake.
Fantasy content. Like there's
Okay.
there's like some kind of like, I don't know if it's like a battle royale. There's some kind of like phone game.
That's
thing
probably what
coming
I'm
out.
thinking
of.
But as far as the Final Fantasy VII remake, I think the only thing that's extra that's come out is the
Oh
Yuffie
yeah.
content.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
okay.
That game has been in production. I feel like since high school. Like
I don't know if it's been that long. It's been, people wanted it for a long time.
Yeah.
When there's been countless like
it's
Crisis Core, like all the other like Final Fantasy VII content that they've done.
It's been in production
but-
for a while, and it's changed hands with producers and stuff. It plays a lot like Kingdom Hearts, but button mashing.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah,
I was
the
like,
new
what?
one does. Yeah, Final Fantasy VIII is also one of my favorites, but it's pretty much more the same. I mean, the story is different. The different things are different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It depends on how deep you want to go, because
Oh yeah.
from a JRPG standpoint, the battle systems are very different.
Final Fantasy VII is more of a material system, and your character level matters, like as far as your HP and stuff. Final Fantasy VIII is a junction system where you have to draw the magic from your enemies, and how much magic you have impacts your stats.
Yeah, I know as a kid, I just constantly summoned the gifts. Like that was all I did. Like every battle is like you just kept summoning the summons.
Yeah.
And as an adult, you realize like if you just properly like set up your magic, you can just one shot everything with auto attack. So kind of comical, but not to bore Steven with stuff that he's not part of. I think
It's all
I
right.
actually, of the 3 PlayStation ones, I think I actually do like 9 the best. The kind of a return to roots.
It is
Yeah.
more medieval. I do
Yeah.
have
It's a return to
9
classic fantasy, because 7 and 8 are a bit more of like
futuristic.
Yeah.
I think in both 7 and 8 they go to space. I don't know how they manage that. They do.
Yeah.
It's like a wide ranging story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I mean, I was a big Squaresoft guy, so which is Square Enix now. But I enjoyed lots of JRPGs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Fantasy Tactics, classic tactical RPG.
Nice. Yeah. Beyond that, with the PlayStation, the one other game that I feel like I have the most memories of from that console, I don't know if either of you guys ever played it, but ESPN Extreme Games. I feel like I played that game all the time. I feel there was a bunch of different like extreme sport events in it, but the main one that I feel like I remember is the downhill luge, and they had a whole lot of like customization for the actual luge board you were using and like to change stats for speed and all that, but you'd go down the track going through tunnels and trying to go off ramps, hitting like bonus targets and stuff. I don't know if it was a great game, but I have a lot of fantastic memories.
Yeah, I wasn't super into like the sports thing, although I was into the Tony Hawk.
Yeah, I was gonna say from a sports. I was gonna say the same thing. From a sports games, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Almost. I mean, we enjoyed the game a lot too, but I feel like the music was a huge part.
Oh my,
of
yeah,
that game
the
as
music,
well.
yeah.
The ska, like what, punk rock? I don't know if
Yeah.
it's all- I don't know if like punk rock, but like
It was like classic punk rock.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned the soundtrack because I hadn't played Tony Hawk until when the original Xbox came out. So I think it was Tony Hawk 2, and one of the big things about the original Xbox was you could rip CDs to the Xbox and play your own soundtrack. So I got the original Xbox and Tony Hawk for Christmas, and one of my cousins had got the Linkin Park Hybrid Theory album.
Oh, nice.
So the first thing we did when we plugged it in was we ripped Hybrid Theory to that, and we just played
Legally.
Tony Hawk. Yeah, legally. We just played Tony Hawk nonstop, but I didn't get the experience of the original soundtrack.
music.
We just listened to Linkin Park nonstop with
which
it.
is such a weird concept to me because I feel like I always listen to the game's music when I play a game. Period,
yeah.
like any game.
Anymore,
Any
I
game.
definitely
so
do.
it's funny to me to think of like playing. Though I guess we used to play a lot of games where we would listen to the radio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But-
yeah, I would listen to the radio too.
But yeah, from like a sports games, the Tony Hawk games. We used to play some WWF games. We were into wrestling for a bit, me and my brothers. But
I
then
remember playing a little bit of wrestling.
I just remember me and
games.
Ricky make the joke all the time because there's one of the games that like you could create your own character. And It was so
Yeah.
much fun in creating like whatever character, but they would just
Yeah.
refer to you as like player one. So me and Ricky will always just like every now and then be like player one. Like I don't know. And so just the dumb jokes you make. From it.
Yeah.
But or cool borders.
Oh, yeah.
Borders.
I forgot about that.
Yes. I love
which
that
is just
one
we
as
only
well.
played the second one. Which
Okay.
where you can get like remember you can lock a couple characters of like a snowman, an alien.
Oh yeah.
Do all kinds of tricks and racing, which carried on to like we played in like the next generation. We played SSX Tricky.
Yep.
Enjoyed all those like
There
snowboarding
was
games.
again. I was an Xbox guy because I blamed Sony for killing my Dreamcast, so I never wanted to buy a PlayStation. But they had I cannot remember what it was called, but it was a Microsoft like first party snowboarding game that they had on the original Xbox, and I remember playing the heck out of that. And
Okay.
I
I don't know.
yeah.
Because I can think of like the
1080
GameCube version.
snowboarding?
I thought it was a
No,
GameCube. That's GameCube.
Yeah,
or
that was
64.
GameCube.
64 and GameCube was 1080.
Oh, was it?
But I actually never played those. Well, I did also play like the jet ski or jet set moto or something like that.
I know Wave Race.
I think that was 64. There's a similar version for the PlayStation. I just remember playing that.
Okay.
Or like the Hydro Thunder, another
Hydro
Thunder.
that was a
trying to really
popular
hype you up.
announcer
It
style
was
back
like,
then.
let's just hype you up.
Yep.
But I have a ton of gaming was a huge part of my childhood. So I could list like
I feel like
countless
it was part of mine too.
Yeah.
I guess I mean like several franchises. Like
Yeah.
we were big into Mega Man. I distinctly remember one of the biggest things for me was for one Christmas I got Mega Man X4 as my Christmas gift. And I remember I got like a letter, and it was because I guess even though it was a communal system, like it was very much so like my brothers were like no, like because there's a big difference. Like my oldest brother's 15 years older than me,
Yeah.
so or 15 and a half, so we're quite spread out like evenly among that. So there's a lot of like he like gave me the signed document of like you can play Mega Man X4 whenever you want.
Nice.
And so I remember playing it a bunch, and my brother Ricky has a bunch of like Mega Man tattoos. So like Mega Man was one we played a lot. We were big into fighting games.
Yeah.
You said Soul Blade.
Soul Blade, oh huge. I remember as my family like we played it a bunch. Like I remember me and my brother Ricky and I were 3 years apart. We have two cousins, Jill and Stephanie, that are the same age as each of us. And we used to do stuff all the time as kids. And I remember distinctly like playing that game a lot. And even with that same like huge family gathering, we all for some reason huddled in the back room where the system was at the time. That 10 by 11 room, my like entire family's crammed in here on like beds and whatever, playing Soul Blade, and like the loser would just pass the controller to the next person.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it was just always been a communal thing of like, because I'm even just thinking about like, do you guys ever watch people play games? Like your siblings?
No. I mean, I guess there was a little bit of watching that play, but not
because
really
you're
not
the
much.
oldest, right? So you're in, I guess, more of a.
I'm the
different
oldest
spot.
in my immediate family, but
Right.
I had 2 older cousins.
Okay.
We played Crash Bandicoot a lot, and we passed.
No, yes, you kind of did the same, like watching and playing together.
Between all the cousins, yeah.
yeah.
That was a single player game, though.
Right. We did
Yeah.
that a lot with single player games too. Like, I mean, I remember like I could just spend hours watching my brothers play games.
Yeah.
Like, that was a big part of gaming to me. So it's just pervasive. Like,
Yeah.
everything we played. I mean, like I said, like I could just list a bunch of games, not to like ramble on.
Yeah. Most of my gaming from this generation happened on the N64.
Do you wanna talk about
We can
that?
switch over.
Yeah, whenever.
I did not have an N64, but all my friends did.
See, that was the first console. Again, going back to, it's different for you guys, but the N64 was the first console that was actually like my console and not one of my brothers. So I think that's part of the reason. And a bunch of my friends had the N64, so we'd get together for the classic Goldeneye and Mario parties. Mario
Would people
Kart
bring
stuff.
their own controllers, or did you actually have 4 controllers for your system?
Ooh, that's a good question. I honestly don't remember.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of, if I remember right, a lot of bringing of controllers, but we also played a lot in my church's youth group. So I don't remember if I'm thinking of that from people just coming to youth group with them or what. But
the 64 was always a magical system to me because we didn't own it, and I always wanted to own it. But it was like, I remember because one time as a kid, I won one of those like cars you can like drive around in.
Yeah.
But at the age I was just a little too old to actually like ride it. So like they just gave my parents like a big, check or whatever that they could spend. And my mom was like, we put it for your college fund. And I was like, can I buy a 64 with it? Like, we already have a PlayStation.
That's my dad. That was my dad's attitude as well.
Yeah.
I had to pay for my own PS2, which was I bought like in almost high school.
Yeah.
And
the thing, it cracks me up about the N64, like, I remember that being the main system from all my close friends. So I growing up always viewed it as like the top of the line, the most successful, but it had less than 400 games released.
Oh yeah,
for
it was
like,
it was not.
That was nearly the start of the end for Nintendo. Like until
I think it still did well. It was just it's kind of the same track record Nintendo kind of has. I mean, I feel like they've
with
I
the
think
Wii,
with the Switch.
Wii and the Switch, like,
what I was gonna say is I
huge,
feel
but-
like the Wii still though kind of had the same mentality a little bit of you went to Nintendo for first party games.
Yeah.
Which, put a sour taste in third party people where it's like
Yeah.
our games don't sell as well in your system.
Yeah,
Your system
that's
is
true.
As you've strategically made a decision to be less graphically advanced, to be more cost affordable. So it's one of those things of
well,
like
looking at the Wikipedia entry, the N64 was released in 1996, which is I think after the Sony PlayStation. I'm not exactly sure. But the original cost was only almost $200. It was $200 versus the PlayStation, which was $300.
Yeah, and that's something that, I mean, even through today, Nintendo's continued. Like, they always make their consoles more affordable, but they also are the only console manufacturer that never sells a console for a loss. Like, regularly, Microsoft and Sony, whenever they're releasing consoles, it's not till close to the end of a console generation where they're actually turning a profit on each individual
actual
system
hardware.
itself.
Yeah, like the PS3, because they had to heavily discount the PS3. They were taking a huge loss from
Yeah.
a hardware standpoint.
Yeah.
But then like they make up for it with software sales.
Right. And Nintendo's like, yeah, we're gonna make money right off the bat. Which, I mean, they have a ton of cash in their pockets, and they lived through the Wii U, so it's worked well for them. But
yeah. But the 64 still like a lot of my friends had it. So a lot of my friends did have it. So it almost is better that way for me because it made the memories with them like really strong. Like I mean, granted, I have super strong PlayStation ones as well. But like we used to go over to I used to stay the night with my friend Emily and our my brother friend Celeste's house. Like we would stay there, and the four of us would play Mario Party all night. We would play 50 turn board games, like constantly. We'd play the mini games. I mean, we played like we tore the crap out of our hands, not even caring. Like, I mean, it was.
So there was a couple of instances when I went over, like a sleepover with multiple people, and we just played Mario Party all night.
Oh yeah, Mario Party, Mario Kart, Goldeneye, like all three of those were huge, and those would be situations where we definitely had more than 4 people around, and it was a round robin, and depending on how many people we'd have, it would be either the winner stays and everybody else swaps, or the lowest person, like the last place person, would end up getting swapped out. And it was
when it was
a good
easier
time.
because so we had the 4-person adapter for the PlayStation.
Okay,
but it was nice that the 64 just had that built in.
Right.
You didn't have to buy another thing to be able to play.
That was the thing about the PlayStation. You could only have 2.
Yeah, but they had adapters, like, because we had it. We
did not have.
Was the adapter for the PlayStation like a weird V-shaped
it was
thing?
it was a V. It was
okay.
it was a V-shaped thing. But I mean, we had it because, like I said, we played Crash Team Racing with 4 players. We played a number of games, and even into the PS2 life cycle. So we had one for the PS2, where a lot of games we played 4 people or 3, however you had.
Oh man, yeah, so many great games. I feel like I loved on the on that system.
Let's go through it with the James Bond Goldeneye. I think that's like the most famous James Bond game.
Oh yeah,
because they did a bunch of them.
Well, they did. I think Goldeneye, and then
they did a World Is Not Enough
hold
game.
on, what was the second one on the? It was Dark. It was something.
Perfect Dark. But that wasn't James Bond.
I think that was the same level of success or a similar level of success to Goldeneye.
Goldeneye and Perfect Dark were both from Rare. So they were both first person shooters, and they both had very solid multiplayer components to it. I feel like I have more memories from Goldeneye, but I do remember enjoying Perfect Dark quite a bit as well. Another part with Goldeneye, that was the start of my love for James Bond in general.
Oh, really?
I don't remember if I watched the movie or played the game first, but they're like synonymous in my mind, and I like just anything James Bond, I eat it up now. I know there's a lot of misogyny issues with it, whatever, but just the franchise, I
was never into James Bond.
I just think of Thanksgiving. They used to have marathons on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember, suddenly my family just loved to cram into small rooms.
Yeah.
We crammed into my uncle's living room at the time was not big, and it was like my whole side of my mom's family, and we were just like in there for Thanksgiving, talking and watching James Bond marathon all day. And so
that's funny.
I don't know if that happened multiple Thanksgivings, but at least for that one is very vivid, very strongly sticks out in my mind. So I just think of Thanksgiving.
Well, and a lot of the releases for James Bond movies have been around Thanksgiving too.
Season.
So the No Time to Die was a little different.
There's another one
of COVID,
coming out soon, isn't there?
No Time to Die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just came out.
Oh, it just came out
weeks ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was good. Okay. I liked it.
But James Bond, I do remember before we move on, you could choose the different settings, whether rocket launchers or
change up your weapon set.
Yeah, or you could
All
do slaps only.
Yeah.
Did you guys do slaps
only?
only?
For sure. That's the most memorable to me is slaps only.
We would do slaps and grenades. So it would just you would set up proximity mines and be running through trying to find someone to slap, and all of a sudden you just blow up in the facility too, which
and they had different levels.
Level design was
they had different
iconic.
levels with trapdoors and secret. The graphics were not that good.
No,
but I feel like any
graphics of the day.
Oh yeah,
any game that went for realistic graphics has not aged well.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Anything that went for cartoony graphics generally is fine.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Stemming off of James Bond love, I feel like this game, part of my enjoyment may have been because it was a riff on Bond, specifically was Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. I can't say I really have a whole lot of specific memories about it, like specific levels or anything, but that was another kind of mascot-esque platformer of the day.
I played the second one a lot for PlayStation.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I played it.
Yeah, it was a cross-platform.
Yeah, it was cross-platform. I didn't really play the third one. The second one I played a lot, and me and my friend Emily used to repeat the lines because it is it is a platform that does not age well simply because it is heavily filled with pop culture references.
Okay.
So if you are not of the era, it's not as entertaining from that standpoint.
Yeah.
But the second one, we played it on. I was actually like, we never owned it. One of my brother's friends had it, so we borrowed it a bunch.
Okay.
And I probably beat that at least 5 times. Like,
Well,
I mean,
speaking
I
of not
enjoyed it a
owning
lot.
it, this was the era of Blockbuster.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
renting games.
Yeah, you could go, kids
Well-
who are listening, you could go to a place and rent video games and
Okay, boomer.
yeah.
No, just the way you're talking. Well, kids back in my day. I mean, because I feel like, is GameFly still a thing?
I
Like,
think
do people
it
still
is.
do?
Is
Because
it?
people might still do rentals.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
granted,
digital,
in the
that's
age of
insane.
in the age of Steam, most people just have a giant backlog because they buy
Yep.
games on their $2
Yeah.
from like a super
but
sale.
that's all
But I don't.
digital.
But I don't know if people do GameFly or not anymore.
I remember in college using GameFly quite a bit, but then I started working for GameStop, and for anybody who has not worked from GameStop, one of the benefits of working there is any of their used games, as long as it wasn't like a brand new release, you could essentially borrow the
Oh my
used
goodness.
games for an extended period of time and then bring them back.
I remember back in the day. So if you got one of the memberships,
Yeah.
you got games at a discount. If
Yep.
you then sold them back, you would sell them back at the regular price. There's a period of time when GameStop, at least my GameStop didn't catch that. Because I remember like I would buy a used game, play it for a while, and return. This is probably not great, and return it for a profit.
So I'd never had that happen, but even still, unless they've recently changed it, with used games, GameStop does have a pretty friendly return policy where,
You
like,
kinda
if you
try
have a
before you
lot
buy,
of time,
basically.
if you have a lot of time to play, I think it's like 2 weeks, and this may have changed again, but like you could buy a game and either if you just didn't like it or you had beat it and you were done with it, return it within 2 weeks and get your money back. I never had the situation of making a profit.
I mean, like I said,
but-
that's been a long time.
Yeah.
But I remember, honestly, I thought GameStop would be dead soon here.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the whole like stock.
I was
Well,
gonna say,
market,
yeah,
I was gonna
this-
say,
that
GameStop is doing fine. People are investing.
They
their mortgage.
I cannot speak about that realm of things, but the pandemic really hit GameStop at a bad time because they were trying to go into more of an in-person, like, this is a place to hang out. We're going to have game lounges. I don't know if anybody else remembers them, like, talking about this.
Well, they always had the demo stands because I
Right.
remember loving that as a kid.
Yeah.
In the mall, you'll go to the mall and
Yeah,
play.
But they were talking
Yeah.
about, like, legitimately having almost like a faux living room set up. People come out,
Oh.
hang out,
Yeah,
play
that would not
games here.
Be
They
pandemic
were...
friendly.
And they may have done this portion of it, but it's been forever since I've been in a GameStop. But where they were going to start getting it back into more like retro games, even too.
The last time I've been in relatively recently. My big thing I've noticed is they've realized that game sales is not the primary thing for them because
Yes.
they have a lot of those like crappy Funko things and
Yep.
T-shirts and board games and like cups, like merchandise. There's a lot more.
Yeah, they
merchandise.
do a lot, and they've even started doing. You may have said this and I blacked out, but they've started doing more board games. And things
different
too.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
all kinds of physical stuff. I remember one of the things I think I took notes on before this was like talking about just like renting and different things in the past, like how the games used to come with those manuals.
Yeah.
that you could read through.
Yep.
The back should have ads on them. And I remember there was a game I actually like super wanted. It's called Team Buddies. I doubt either of you've heard of it.
Nope.
I've never heard of it.
No, but
Sounds
I remember
made up.
it was on the back of it was an ad on the back, and I was like, "Wow, this looks so awesome!" I really wanted it as a kid. And I remember my oldest brother, like, he was my godfather, and so he like we would always exchange gifts, and he
Yeah.
like scoured for it and found it.
Yeah.
And I mean, we played the hell out of it. Me and my friends, like, you're like these little pill shaped people,
Yeah.
and it's a like combat, like military type thing where you
Yeah.
like create tanks and weapons and then fight each other. You're like all these little pill characters. But it's just one of those things where it's weird to think about like the ads, like the way you find out about games. Like I used to like find games in Game Informer. I used to like now it's like you gotta go online or go on Steam and like find a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that just reminds me, I filled out a survey today that asked what magazines you read, and I just thought to myself, does anybody read a magazine anymore? Like, all the articles and everything are online now, and
I will say, like, so, I mean, it's been a long, I haven't renewed my GameStop subscription in forever, but used to get the Game Informer.
Yeah.
And I remember I switched one year, I was like, I'll just switch to digital. Never read it.
Yep.
And then,
Yeah,
I think the next year
exactly.
the next year I did it, I was like, I'm going to go back to physical. So, because I used to at least flip through it when I physically got it in the mail.
Yeah.
Because I go to all kinds of different sites for games. Like, I'll go to Destructoid, I'll go to IGN.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to Game Trailers, I think, at one time. Polygon.
Okay.
My work
Yeah.
started blocking a lot of them. So
Oh,
no.
my
Yeah.
browsing during lunch.
Yeah.
Well, I guess now I'm at home sometimes, so it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
my browsing during lunch kind of died.
Let's move on to the final console, the Game Boy Color, and then we can
Yes.
get pizza. 'Cause I
Good
know-
old handhelds. I loved the Game Boy Color. Played that thing so much, and as Tony had mentioned earlier, having all the attachments to it. I had the magnifier with the external speakers and the lights.
Oh my
wow.
goodness.
Oh, it
I
was a transformer.
I had just a little thing where it was like you plug it into where you charge it normally.
Yeah.
And it just had like a little like bendy light.
Yep.
That's all. I
my
had the
cousin
printer.
had
We did
that.
have the Game Boy
Okay.
printer, but like
mine
which
was
just seems very extra. But.
Mine was a whole thing. Like you would slide it onto the top of the Game Boy Color. The little magnifier piece would extend, so it was like an inch and a half from the screen, so it would kind of blow it up. Had little speakers that folded down on the side of that to make it louder, and then kind of behind the magnifier thing, there were lights so that you could see it when you were playing in the dark. I'm sure I had multiple iterations of that type of thing, but that's
Yeah.
like the one that really sticks out in my mind. Playing that
Now,
on so many road trips,
I
on the
still
bus to
play my Game
school,
Boy
everything.
Color if I'm traveling by
Nice.
car. Caroline will switch driving.
Yeah,
If I'm traveling international, I can't sleep on flights.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess just like all this point play my 3DS, my Switch.
Mhm.
Like
No, I
Yeah.
still play Pokemon. I used to have Mario, which is like the original.
The Super Mario Brothers DX, the Game Boy Color remake of original Mario Brothers,
I think
Super
so.
Mario Brothers.
You
Yeah,
could play as Luigi.
that's when I
It's
played a
like
ton.
8 levels and 16 levels in each.
Yep.
So that it's just like a time killer,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Like I said, I
uh,
can't sleep on flights. I'm 6'2",
I rem-
especially international.
Yeah. I remember getting together with friends and linking up with the link cables and playing Pocket Bomberman a ton and other games too, but I feel like that's the one we went to the most.
We had
was
a Bomberman game, but not. I think it was multiplayer. I mainly like it was because the one I'm thinking of was for Game Boy, not Game Boy Color.
Okay.
it
And I'm
was-
probably mixing some of
I
that
think
up
we got
too
it for like
because
free from like a cereal thing or something. Like if you collected enough,
nice.
some shenanigans like that. The main things I remember, me and my brother played a lot of Spy vs. Spy.
Oh, okay.
There was one for the Game Boy Color that you could do a link cable.
Yeah.
we had a lot of fun playing that.
I know we traded via the link cable.
Yeah,
but
Pokemon.
Yep.
Yeah,
Pokemon
Pokemon
trading.
Gold. I
Yep.
had gold. Ricky had silver. and
Nice.
I remember playing that a lot. I remember one time I think when I got it, I think for my birthday. I remember it was my birthday party with my family, and my parents were like, "You need to stop playing. It's family time." But I remember then doing stuff with family.
Yeah. Oh man, I know I had gold or silver for Pokemon, but really most of my Pokemon memories are from Gen 1, and I don't remember if I had red or blue, but I played the heck out of yellow. So
We're all Pokemon fans, I'm assuming, right? Did you play?
yep.
Which starter did you go for?
Well, yellow was my game, so it was Pikachu.
Oh,
but
okay.
if I'm not playing yet, like I did recently go back and play red or blue. I forget which one.
See,
and
that's
I
the hardest
started
one
with
because the first
Charmander.
gym is
Mhm.
Brock,
Yeah.
which is rock
Yep.
Pokemon.
And you just gotta get that Butterfree. Learn
Yeah.
confusion.
Yep.
But,
Butterfree's your friend.
No, I think I either did Bulbasaur or Squirtle. I've restarted it more than once, so I know I did either Bulbasaur or Squirtle.
Yeah,
for blue.
I did do all of them, but
For gold, I had Cyndaquil, so I did go fire for gold.
I really
Nice.
liked the fire and Charmeleon. I think that's the second stage. He
Yep.
was very stubborn.
Yeah.
In the anime, I don't. obviously
Well,
not
sometimes
the
he
game,
wouldn't listen. Like, yeah,
Joe was a level up one Pokemon kind of
I
guy.
guess
Yep.
so.
I think most people were.
I tried my best pre the XP sharing games. I tried my best to spread it out as much as possible, but part of that was also because I was a big fan of letting my Pokemon get knocked out and not wanting to go back to town until all of them were knocked out. So
Oh
I kind of had to play with all of them out of necessity. I mean, hey, why waste time backtracking to town when you could just automatically get teleported after all your
Just
Pokemon
black
are
out.
KO'd?
You lose money.
Money, who cares? That was easy to come by.
There were a lot of different versions of that.
Yeah.
And they're still making them.
Yep. Yeah, at one point I picked up a 3DS when they released Red and Blue on there, and I was planning to start like a playthrough of all of them because again, like Gen 1 was the only one I really played through completely. I had dabbled with Gen 2, and that's where I kind of stopped on my replay as well. I started playing through the re-release of Gen 2. I got stuck on the freaking mill tank at one of the gyms and then never went back.
Well, speaking of the original, do you guys remember ever doing the cheat code where you put the Master Ball in the 7th spot in your bag, and then you had to surf up and down the coast?
Yes, for the what was that thing
Masingo?
called? Yeah, Masingo.
Yeah, how you would get Mew if you wanted Mew.
And it would replicate whatever item was number 7. I forget what number it was, but it would replicate it to 99, which is the maximum.
Yeah.
And it would do that for the Master Ball so you could get all 3 Mystic.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about, because there's the whole thing of getting Masingo.
Yeah.
And you can use that to like create a Pokemon, and usually you get to get Mew. And it makes you think, though, like, I makes think of like the kind of the fun of some of the gaming stuff of like there's all those rumors of things you could do. Of, like,
right.
the rumor of like, well, actually, if you get Strength and use it on that drawing in the right way, you can get Mew to appear. And like, I remember there's stuff around like
well, you could get Mew to appear, but you have the Master Ball to catch it.
Oh, not Mewtwo. I mean like Mew. Like just the only way to get Mew is to like cause a glitch in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But I mean stuff of like there's like rumors that used to be like, if you did this will happen in the game.
And most of that was never
it was just
true.
People
but...
just like, oh my friend said this.
Yeah.
It made me think of like I don't know if you guys ever played Super Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo. And one of the things we always found was like there's stuff like you can get Luigi to be a playable character, and there's all these things fancy things you got to do, and none of it exists.
Yeah.
It was
just
that's that time of like he said she said kind of thing, and so it's just kind of comical. Now that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, it was recess rumors,
basically.
Is there anything else?
Man.
You mentioned Pokemon Pinball.
Oh yeah, if anybody else remembers this, it had a spot for a AAA battery in the cartridge itself to give it a little bit of a rumble effect, and it was I'm just obsessed with pinball in general, and from playing Pokemon Pinball, I have always been obsessed with pinball. So yeah, I played the heck out of that as well. There were a couple cartridges for the Game Boy Color that had that like AAA battery slot for some extra stuff, and that was one of them.
There was also the card game. They made a game. They made a game.
Trading card game. The video game version of the trading card game.
Yeah, I remember
we had
playing that.
Yep.
But I think that does it for, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, not when it comes to Gen
I mean,
5.
I have lots I could go on about, but it's not.
Let's go eat some pizza. So
that sounds great.
Steven, Tony, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And we're back. Hey, thanks Steven and Tony for coming over and talking video games with me.
Thanks for eating all of our pizza and hanging out with my husband. It's nice for him to have play dates every once in a while.
And thanks for Hillary for coming over as well.
Yeah, she helped me hang out with the kids.
And not eating any of the pineapple pizza.
I think people were they were like, what? Why is there pineapple pizza? I ate a lot of it.
I literally ordered it during recording the episode. Both Tony and Steven were right there. Neither of them said, no pineapple.
Even with Steven, well, I mean, pineapples are his favorite. You should send us pineapples for him or something.
It was a good time. I hope they had a good time as well. So now it is time for Joe's Dad Joke of the Week.
Yay.
And I am staying on theme with games. So, Caroline, are you ready? Hey, no sighing.
Worst.
No sighing.
I'm so excited for this segment, hubby. Tell me your joke.
Because I made you laugh multiple times in the last couple episodes. So
you are doing better.
All right. So how do you know when a party is for a gamer?
I don't know. How?
There are lots of streamers.
Oh my goodness.
Get it? Streamers are a party decoration.
And there are people who play video games online for money. Yeah.
Waka waka.
See, that's what helps Fozzie's jokes is the waka waka at the end. And the ear flicks.
And the heckling. I think the heckling.
The heckling definitely helps.
But you had an announcement.
I do have an announcement because I forgot to say this before. So I have gotten approved to be a vendor at Happy Hangout's first craft fair. It is November 28th at Happy Hangouts West Side. Conveniently
Best side.
Oh yeah, definitely Best Side. Conveniently located in West Side, Best Side of Cincinnati. And I'm sure that I will be cross-posting stuff on the blog page from my craft page as we get closer to the event, because y'all need to come out and buy Christmas presents from me and the other vendors that will be there.
No shortages over here,
Nope.
at least of yarn, because we have a ton.
Hey, shop small, shop local, support your friends and neighbors, and
Get the yarn out of my house.
a lot of it is going towards the baby blanket for Sweet Pea. I have 3 out of 80-ish cubes done for it, and then I have to do the border. It's going to get done before the kid goes to college.
Is it going to get done before the cross stitch of your mom thing?
No. That one, Lily might have to finish that one. I have too many things to craft, Joseph, and not enough time. Silly jobs get in the way of things. Jobs and children. I love my job. I love my children. I love crafting more, though.
That does it for this week's show. Thanks so much for listening. We want to hear from you. If you have ideas for a show topic, if you have comments about a previous show, maybe you really liked it, or perhaps you learned something new, there are many ways to get in touch with us to leave us this feedback. Send us an email at craftparentingpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Craft Parenting Podcast, where you can get updates on when new episodes have dropped, see pictures of our adorable kids, and more.
If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. Make sure to share the show with your friends and family. It really helps our show grow. You can also send us stuff to our awesome P.O. Box, like more yarn and craft supplies.
All this information is available on our beautiful website, which is www.craftparentingpodcast.com. So go check it out.
That's where the show notes are. Plus, we've been writing lots of blog posts about some of the things that don't make it into the podcast. Like, I'm sure by the time this podcast will release, Joe will post his awesome blog about seasonal creep and what it means to him. And all of his thoughts and opinions on said seasonal creep.
An interesting one, for sure. If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the show. We are listed on all of your favorite podcatchers, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and just about every podcast app out there. And with that, I'm Joe.
And I'm Caroline.
See you next time on the Craft Parenting Podcast. And we're back.
Hey, y'all. I hope you liked that. I know that I enjoyed it, especially the part where Joe said that I was the best wife ever, and he's so glad that I came into his life. That was my favorite.
What?
Are you trying to say that's not true, Joseph?
Oh, it's definitely true. I just don't think I said that in the episode.
Well, you should have.
Perhaps. What was I going to say? Do you have to upend everything? Okay.
Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but Joe, I'm each night reading a little bit of the Star Wars, an epic poem to Hillary and Sweet Pea.
What will you do if your baby doesn't like Star Wars?
It's not an option.
It
But
was
really,
the- it
the
was-
child can like what they do, what they like, and not like what they don't like. But
then
that will
can-
not stop me from shoving Star Wars down their throat.
I would have a hard
They can like and like. They can like and not like what they like, and
I
they
feel like
can
if
also live where they want.
I feel like
They can also live in a
I
different
mean, given
house.
how much influence you'll have over their interests, I
Yeah.
would have a hard time believing that they wouldn't.
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah, we shall see. It would definitely be it would feel weird to me if they didn't at least
Enjoy
kind of
it.
like it.
Yeah, at
Like,
least
if
enjoy
they-
it. Might not love it,
Right.
but would enjoy
It would be really weird if they absolutely like hated it.
Yeah.
No, that might be a little hard, but you want? There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Oh yeah, Steven is drumming just like in
Yeah.
Rock Band. Is that in Rock Band?
Actually,
I figured you
Well,
would just
that
say like
too.
in real life because he was a drummer.
I don't remember. I don't think that song ever came to Rock Band. Fun fact, though, they are still releasing new songs every week for Rock Band. Rock Band 4, but yeah,
Okay, I didn't know what the most recent one was. I haven't played it since
yeah.
the original one. I think whichever one actually had
Rock
drums. I don't think
Band
the original
did.
one actually
So,
had drums. Wasn't it just guitar?
It started with Guitar
Oh,
Hero.
yeah, that's right, because Guitar
Yeah.
Hero, and then went to Rock Band. Yeah.